All right, last question. This question is difficult because each part requires you to use information from the last. So we're going to start with the first part and work our way through. It says Jan makes hair bows to sell at the craft fair. Each bow requires 1.5 yards of ribbon. So if she makes one, she'd use 1.5 yards of ribbon. If she made two, she'd use 3 yards of ribbon. If she made four, she'd use if she made three of them, she'd use 4.5 yards of ribbon, and so on. It says, at the fabric store, ribbon is sold by the foot. This right here is my first piece that I need to pay attention to. The ribbon is sold by the foot. However, I notice up here in my information that they're talking yards. Okay, so I need to pay attention to this. This may need to be a conversion I make. I know that 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. So I'm just going to keep that in mind as I move on, because I'm dealing with two different units from this part of my problem to this part of the problem. It says if Jan wants to make 84 bows, so before when I was talking about the 1.5 yards, the 3 yards, the 4.5 yards, I was adding. It's not going to make sense for me to add 1.5 84 times. And right in that statement you can hear that I would be taking 84 times this, but that's actually, if I do this, 84 times 1.5. I am not going to answer this question because it says how many feet of ribbon must she buy. If I do 84 times 1.5, I am only going to get yards. I'm going to need to convert that into feet in order to finish that. So I will have to go back to this conversion that I pointed out here. Okay, so hopefully that's given you an idea how to solve this one. Let's move on to the next one. It says if the ribbon costs 10 cents per foot, what's the total cost of the ribbon in dollars? Okay, so if I go back here, hopefully when I finished this, I had an answer that said how many feet. Okay, so for every single one of the feet I have in this answer, I am going to use 10 cents. Now, if I write 10 cents out like dollars, 10 cents really looks like this. Some of us got thrown off. We forgot that this is a cents symbol. And 10 cents with our cent symbol is really equal to 0.10. That's like a dime per foot. Okay, hopefully this is mental math for you because you'd be multiplying by 0, but just putting the decimal point in. So it's asking you to explain your reasoning, including how you decided to put the decimal. So you're going to talk about, how much money this is and where you put the decimal in that answer. And you're going to be using that answer from over here. I know that some people I had did the right math, but because they had the wrong number for part A, they had the wrong answer for part B. So if you had the right math but wrong numbers, I'd encourage you to change that around. Since it's mental, except with the exception of putting that decimal point, it shouldn't take you too long. Let's look at problem C. Manufacturer is making 1,000 times as many bows as Jan to sell in stores nationwide. Okay, so I'm going to take this as many bows as Jan, and I'm going to go back to this part of the question. Jan is making 84 bows. So what I can do is I can take this out, and I'm really making 1,000 times 84, because that is how many bows Jan made. I need to write an expression using exponents. I know that exponents is when I have 10 with an exponent in this case. Okay, so we have talked about how to change 1,000 into 10 with an exponent. Okay, I'm going to erase so we can see this next part a little bit better. Okay, so I'm making 1,000 times 84. I'm using exponents, but then it's asking me to show how many yards of ribbon. So this number and this number give me the number of bows the manufacturer is making, but then I need to go back and figure out how many yards of ribbon each bow gets. That information is again back in this first part of the question. It takes 1.5 yards of ribbon for every single bow. So I need to use this number and this number to figure out how many bows, and then I'm going to have to use that 1.5 times how many bows in order to get the total yardage. Note that it's not asking you to calculate the total. It doesn't really want to know how many yards. They just want you to write an expression. They want you to show the math that tells, if you solved it, which you're not actually calculating, but if you calculated it, how many bows would you get? Good luck.